Because French or because hub nut? I think viewers of the previous video on my Citroen GSA may know the answer to that one. I think I let my emotions get the better of me. Yeah, I was having dark days with Giselle, the GSA, and it's not really her fault. The electrical gremlins we're having are mostly because of me. Although I will say these indicator units are woeful, horrible things. They're really cheap, nasty. The earthing is not ideal, and I suspect that's what's going on this side. Is it's either just the cables have come off, or it's just the same earthing issue I was having in this unit. So nothing to do with mice, nothing to do really with being French, or maybe a little bit, even though these are Spanish made indicators because it's a Spanish made GSA. But yeah, everything to do with me. The starting issue, I think we can have a pretty good guess at what that is. It's probably the clamp and the cable. So what I'm planning to do today's the day after I had my little meltdown, is actually take it to Tim up at Cambrian Classics, and we're gonna see if we can make up a new cable. This one is deeply suspect. So first step is going to be getting that off. But just while I do, it is sometimes quite difficult for me. So the car's sunk down, so I have to come down myself. It's quite difficult for me putting out videos like that. The aftermath of putting out a video like that and seeing the comments, it's not comfortable viewing, because Hubnut is and always has been warts and all. I put it all out there. However the day has gone, that's what the video is, and it reflects a lot of the frustrations I think a lot of us amateur mechanics feel. I'm not in the business of pretending to be a really good mechanic. I don't edit out the faux pas and the errors. Everything goes in as it happens, and I was frustrated, I was hot. I came in thinking that GSA is a pain in the backside to work on, I'm going to have a horrible day, and because I came in with that attitude, I had a horrible day. So the plan today is to see if we can get that cable replaced and see if that improves things. Might just do a little experiment first of all. I'm going to see if she'll start if I bridge the battery with the old jump leads again. But yeah, that might be an interesting experiment to do. So we're eliminating then everything but the battery clamp pretty much. And I think that's where most of our issues lay. So let's give that a go. If I connect this to the battery, there we go, and then connect this other end to the battery cable, making sure we keep all this off live metalwork. Yeah, I've got to be very careful with that, because if that clamp touches bodywork, it'll get quite sparky. In theory, the car is now live, so I think I'm going to go and see what occurs. Oh, careful, some 2CV doors there. So there we go, everything's live, and there we go, starting and running absolutely fine. There's some lights, made my life easier. I might as well let her run until the hydraulics pump her up in the air. And also need to look at the tension of that alternator. Have I actually tensioned it correct? Not looking forward to that, because everything is a pig together, but it's quite easy to adjust the tension. Oh, I think we need a few more revs and a bit less choke really. Goes down as the back goes up, and then here comes the front. So I think that it doesn't necessarily 100% confirm our fault, but if we make our own connection between the battery and the positive, we get good connection. 13.68. Still a little on the low side for comfort, but 13.8 is certainly enough for it to charge, and someone kindly emailed me the auto data facts for these cars, and yes, you do have to be careful of this fan. That's not as close as it looks. Don't stroke a moving fan. And yeah, that confirmed 13.8 to 14.4 is kind of the window they're looking at. So she's just in there, so I think that's probably all right. So next stage, we'll get that off, and we'll go and see Tim. So we've got quite a bit of pitting on that battery cable, but this is the cable itself, and it's a weird mixture. What's going on here? That all seems a bit weird. And then you've got this clamp, which I have tried cleaning up on the inside, but you can see it's an absolute mess. And I think, really, that is our problem. But it's only a short run. It just comes down to the starter motor here. Safe to poke about with the battery disconnected. So we've just got to take this big nut off the back, and we'll get this cable replaced, I think. With something a bit more superior. Apparently I'm just going to have one of those weeks, because the toolbox tipped over and all the tools Miss Hubnut put in the toolbox are now on the floor. But I did get the cable off, so now we can go and see Tim. Right, so I have my cable and I have a Tim. So first of all, what do you think of my cable?
Okay, so you're saying that when you went to it, it would work and then it would stop working, and you take your battery off and put it back on again, and it would start working.
Take the cable off, put it back on.
Well, the cable's actually loose to the clamp, so even as much as you tighten the clamp, I can get nice.
I'll tell you what, I'll flip the camera over.
You can see what
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know how much the camera's going to pick that up, but the
that's
cable
moving
is
a lot.
actually loose to the clamp, and it all looks pretty hot and melty going on in there.
That would look a bit of culprit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it's occasionally getting enough contact to start, and then
not, and then I take the clamp off, and it's just moving it enough to make a connection again. Yeah. That'll do it.
So the simplest thing, you got broken strands in there as well.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Just make another one with a fresh clamp. I make them all the time for doing 12-volt battery conversions on MGs and.
Oh yeah, they have two 6-volts, don't they?
Yeah, originally they're two 6-volts, and they are super expensive. You want to buy a pair of 6-volt batteries, and battery technology's come on a long way. As you can get a single 12-volt that fits in the cage of 1.6.
Yeah.
Works absolutely fine. But it just means making new cables. So we can do that. I keep lengths of cable a bit bigger than what you've got, but it'll
do the job.
It'll do the job nicely.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, then we have our new length of cable.
Yeah, measured to the length of the old one. Got the boot that covers the terminal, presumably on the starter motor, already pushed on, because once you've got the terminal on, they can be hard to get on. So what we do, we cut the insulation off the end. So I'll hit a bit of heat shrink. Should have done this before I cut it, actually, thinking about it. There. Giant attitude adjuster. So this tool, then you mount a device, sprung loaded, with a little, like a pin punch in the end of it.
Yeah.
Put that in there. Get a big hammer.
Noise alert. That seems pretty well stuck.
Yeah. And you slide your insulation back over the end.
There we go, simple as.
One battery cable end. And the terminals then that I keep here, then you can just bolt them down. You get a nice, strong, secure contact, rather than that weird
the weirdness
thing that's going on there. But if it's nice and strong, it won't come off. You know. So we'll do one the other end, and
job's a good one.
Done.
So there we go, a successful visit. I have my new cable, both ends now on, the boot is ready to go, so we'll go and see if that makes a difference. So thank you, Tim.
No problem.
£10 for that, and he obviously makes them for MGBs as well that are in the workshop, so yeah, useful tools to have. Right, let's go and see if it makes a difference. Oh, there we go. Tuck's back in her rightful place, and Giselle, the GSA, now has her new cable fitted. So that's designed to snake its way around the spare wheel, which would normally sit here. So that's looking absolutely bob on. The earth cable, skimpy little thing that it is, seems okay. I'm now just pondering how close that battery terminal is going to get to the bonnet when the bonnet comes down. Okay then, I guess the big question is, does she now start with her new cable? Here we go. A different viewpoint for you. Handbrake on. Yes, the handbrake's there. Into neutral. Ignition on. Yeah, I've still got the speedo bulb out. I need to work out how you get the speedo binnacle out to replace that bulb. And here we go. Wait for the hydraulic pressure to build up. Go. Marvellous. Back into gear, handbrake off, and I think we can consider that a success. Now, whether I can do something about this noisy alternator is another thing. I've just realised it's more than just the tensioner, because I've got to slacken off the main bolt, and I seem to remember that's a pig. Oh no, I've got an access. I think there's an access hole through the fan, so I think I can get to that. It's just not very joyous, but the difficult bit is I can't actually get to the belt to check how the tension feels. Can I reach the belt around here? Where is it? There it is. Yeah, I would say that belt tension is not excessive. Yeah, I can just about twist it to 90 degrees out. It's quite difficult to do because I can only get 2 fingers on it, but I would say that is not too tight. So I don't think that's the issue. I have heard some people say these aftermarket alternators can be a bit noisy for a bit, so it might quieten down, but equally it might just be one of those things. I've put a rubber buffer on top of that, so that's insulated just in case it did somehow contact the bonnet. There is about an inch between the two, I think, but nonetheless, better safe than sorry. I guess the next thing was, you can hear the hydraulics gurgling away. Next question is, can I get all the lights working? Oh, there we go. Working both sides, and at the back apparently as well. Marvellous. So there we go. Did manage to get it sorted. Now seems to be alright. Proof in the pudding will be when it comes to MOT time. Due to cash flow, that is not going to be in September. But hopefully October we can have perhaps one last hurrah in Giselle, the GSA. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go home and have my second bath of the day, I think. I'm filthy and very, very sweaty. And I shall see you in a future video. Farewell.